In 1558, the Afghan general Kala Pahad marched his army toward the coast of Odisha, intending to level the Jagannath Temple to the ground. As his soldiers neared the main sanctum, the sky darkened. The sun vanished, replaced by a blinding white light erupting from the temple's dark entrance. A terrifying, vibrating mass of energy moved outward. The invading soldiers immediately broke rank. Dozens collapsed in shock, while the rest turned and fled without drawing a single sword. This 16th-century retreat established the temple's reputation as a space where conventional military logic, and potentially physical logic, encounters a persistent, unexplained resistance. Even today, standing outside the walls, you can observe these deviations. Look at the main flag mounted at the very top of the tower. It consistently flies directly against the direction of the wind. Then look at the highest dome, capped by a massive 20-foot metal wheel known as the Sudarshan Chakra. This wireframe diagram maps the sightlines from the surrounding city grid. No matter where you stand in Puri, the chakra creates a precise optical illusion of always facing you directly. Engineering records do not explain how medieval builders hoisted such a heavy object to that height, let alone programmed an omnipresent visual tracking effect into its design. Standard scientific observation loses its footing here at the perimeter, and the anomalies only grow more severe once you cross the threshold. Entering the temple requires climbing 22 steps, but devotees strictly avoid the third step, known as the Yama Shila. Local texts warn that placing your foot there instantly zeroes out your accumulated good karma. Past those steps lies the temple kitchen, a sprawling complex that produces food on an industrial scale using ancient methods. This cross-section diagram shows their unique cooking method: 7 clay pots stacked vertically over a single wood fire. Notice how the heat energy bypasses the bottom 6 pots. The food in the topmost pot cooks first, contradicting the expected behavior of rising heat. Operating without gas or electricity, this kitchen feeds up to 200,000 people every day. No food is ever wasted, and despite the volume of organic matter, the complex remains free of flies and foul odors. This vertical stack represents a thermal inversion that allows the kitchen to sustain massive daily operations without modern fuel. Deep inside the inner sanctum, the physical anomalies give way to something more secretive. On the night of June 15, 2015, the entire city of Puri prepared for an event that occurs only every 12 years. The government plunged the city into total darkness. Inside the temple, a select group of priests tied thick blindfolds over their eyes and bound their hands in heavy gloves so they could neither see nor directly touch what they were handling. They were performing the Naba-Kalabara ritual, the extraction of the Brahma Padartha, believed to be the heart of Lord Krishna, from a decaying wooden idol to a newly carved one. According to ancient texts, when Krishna died, his heart refused to burn. It continued beating with immense energy, eventually washing ashore in Odisha, where it was sealed inside wooden figures. Some researchers have proposed an arc reactor theory to explain this. They hypothesize that this surviving, vibrating object is an ancient device emitting high levels of electromagnetic radiation. This schematic illustrates the theory. The wooden idols act as essential non-conductive casings to contain the energy. Because the wood continuously degrades from the intense radiation, the containment vessel must be replaced on a 12-year cycle. The priests treat Jagannath as a biological entity, performing periodic surgeries and life support rituals on a figure they believe physically lives and ages. This energy at the temple's core seems to ripple outward, mapping directly to global timelines. 500 years ago, a temple seer named Achyutananda wrote the Bhavi-Shamalika, a text containing hundreds of prophecies. In early 2020, specific physical signs manifested at the temple. The main flag caught fire, and rare scavenger birds like vultures began perching on the domes. The Bhavi-Shamalika tied these signs to a global disease that would force humanity to lock themselves in their homes, a prediction that aligned with the pandemic lockdowns months later. Even the 2019 cyclone Fani, which physically bent the Sudarshan Chakra, aligned with a specific passage indicating the violent end of the current age, the Kali Yuga. The temple functions as a massive, ancient clock, where localized physical shifts appear to anticipate major historical and global catastrophes. This structure has survived countless attempts to shut it down. When the British administration tried to ban the massive Rath Yatra in 1806, a public uprising forced the empire into a total retreat. We see a pattern of deviations: flags moving against the wind, inverted thermal patterns in the kitchen, a vibrating internal core, and a 500-year-old text that appears to anticipate modern global chefs. Is this a collection of misunderstood ancient technology, a localized breakdown of probability in physics, or the living presence of a god? In our modern era of scientific confidence, the Jagannath Temple proves there are still physical spaces on Earth that belong entirely to the unknown.